When I was an athletic trainer, I would often go to coaches, walk up to them, daily, and just like tell them who got injured. And they sort of started to get used to me as the person that came to them to tell them the bad news that one of their athletes was injured. And I noticed with this happened a lot with contact sports like football. They would kind of get a little nervous when I walked in the room. It's like, oh, he's here, as opposed to another sport that I liked that I just went to where people didn't get as injured, and I just liked the sport, so I was around it a lot, and I talked to the coaches with a lot of passion in me, track and field, and the coaches ended up liking me a lot, and I got like free gear and stuff, and it kind of reminded me of something I was just watching about businesses. And have you ever worked in a place, like maybe you've worked in a restaurant, or you've worked in I don't know, some place where a boss does more punishment than they do reward, and it kind of makes you a bit apprehensive to talk to. I don't want to say just a restaurant, a restaurant, or maybe even at college you're doing an internship, and the people above you punish more than they do reward. It's usually out of their own insecurity or their own fear that you're going to fail or not succeed, or you're going to be a burden on them, whatever. They want you to do your job correctly, so they just punish you. They only talk to you when they need to say, hey, don't do that. And then they're surprised when their employees are late to work or don't talk to them. And I was just listening to this business owner talk on this YouTube video about the fact that he wanted to create this, or him and his wife wanted to create this work environment. She's a business owner as well, where people are rewarded and people feel good. Because if your employees don't feel good in the workplace, like they're just going to get punished all the time whenever they talk to you, they're not going to talk to you, and they're not going to tell you what's going on in the business. I can just imagine, like me, if I'm working into a restaurant, it would be hard for me to talk to my employer if, let's say, they only punished me and never, only talked to me when they need to yell at me and never talk to me just to talk to me, or to say like, hey, you're doing a good job, more of this, whatever, or to tell me good news. It would be more difficult for me to actually talk to them. So I can see how this is true. And I sort of actually started to figure this out on my own from like reading books and then applying it when I was working as an athletic trainer. So I think with basketball or some other sport, I remember walking in and making it a note to come in with good news, because the coach actually said one day, there was a very vocal, honest coach who was like, oh, Troy. And I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm just checking on the team. How you doing today? He's like, oh, good. I thought you were coming in here to tell me that somebody was hurt or something. It was bad news. Oh, and I kind of took note of my demeanor, because I think I got used to having that demeanor of being the person with bad news, like walking in like, hey, I got some news to tell you. So I kind of took note of that, and I kind of was more aware of like how I was coming off, but also just made sure over and over again it's like for every bad news that you bring 10, like out of every 10 things that you say, or every 10 conversations that you start, make it good as opposed to bad news, and you're going to have more trust in the workplace. So this is kind of a video on how to be more liked in the workplace. If you find that you're not liked in the workplace, it's likely that people might be avoiding talking to you because you're the bearer of bad news, or you don't, like whenever you do talk to somebody, it's always because there's a problem. So that's fine, because you have to communicate when there's a problem, right? So everybody's on the same page. But if you sprinkle in between those times, small talk, hey, how's your day going? And good news, like, hey, good job. I don't know if you're that kind of person that likes to give affirmations to people, like, hey, good job there, or, that was really helpful, or even as small as a thing as like, thank you, thanks for helping out there, appreciate it. Or I don't know, what I like to do is I like to bring people things. Like if I'm going to the kitchen with bread, instead of saying, excuse me, guys, I got to get in your way for a second. I got to bring this bread in the kitchen. I walk back there and I'm like, I have bread. It's just different. So hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully you liked it. Peace.